Alright, hey guys. Is this too loud? This might be too loud. I don't know. Whatever. I'm making a tier list because I wanted to make a tier list. Literally, I'm just procrastinating on a video. But I wanted to make a tier list because, yes. So here's all the weapons in the game. I wanted to make a tier list of all the weapons in the game. And we're starting with Rapid for some reason. I don't know why this starts with Rapid, but it does. And I'm gonna put Rapid. I'm between C or D tier because the main weapon is pretty good. I think Rapid has proven itself to be okay, especially in tower control, but its kit of mine and strikes really is not the greatest. I'll put that bad boy in D tier, cause like, in what universe are you using mine and strikes? On Rapid, be so for real. There isn't one. There is not a universe where you're using mine and strikes on this thing. Rapid Pro with Mist and Vac. It works definitely better. It's probably one of the best Vac weapons in the game. Still getting a C. Should I add another tier? I feel like I should add another tier here. I feel like that's not what I want to do. I feel like what I have here is not quite enough, so I'll add in an A+ tier. There we go. So maybe I move that up to B tier, completely middle of the pack. Clash Blaster, it has Zook, D tier. I'm not but that means I am putting Rapid in the same, I guess. But the main this is hard, dude. I forgot how hard fucking tier lists are, because the main weapon's okay here, the special's okay here. I'll put Clash into F. Vanilla Range Blaster, probably. I'll put it in S tier along with CRB. I'm putting them both. Where is CRB? Here. I'm putting them both in the same tier because while one has a better sub, slightly better sub, because Splat Bomb has less whiting frames, so it's a little more ink efficient. It does have Kraken, which sort of makes you a Kraken for a bit and not help. It's not helping the game. Yes, the other one has Wave Breaker, but at least it's a free ink tank refill. So at least you can use it, right? Blaster is a solid A tier. Definitely one of the better bubble options, especially on tower. It's pretty good. Can these people stop playing games? I don't know why I'm getting so many notifications for them. I think it's because my internet keeps dying over and over again. And every time I reconnect, Steam sends me a notification. Whatever. Luna Blaster, probably D tier. There's really no point to picking it. Zipcaster's fine on it, but like, when are you going to use this song ended? Hold on, give me a second. Bam. Oh, I forgot my internet was completely dead.
9 out of 10 people don't get enough fiber. Benefiber is the easy, gentle solution for
Let's go, come on, hurry it up here. Thank you. That is louder. There we go. VBrush, thank you for buffering. Jesus Christ. Oh, the internet's completely dead. Am I still recording it? Yeah, I am. Internet's completely dead now. You can see that, right? Great. Now this is, I love life. This tier list is still up though, so I'm putting Brush into C tier because it has some uses. Like if you want to play like a rat and just get behind enemy lines and be a dick, like this kit's not that bad. It's Splat Bomb Whale. That's a good kit to piss people off from behind, I think. So it has that going for it, at least. It's not the worst thing you could pick. Similarly, I'm going to put Octobrush in B tier. There's just no real reason to pick it. It's an okay, thank you, song. It's an okay zip weapon. Just play the song, please. GooTuber F tier. I shouldn't even need to explain this one. GooTuber fucking sucks. Terrible main weapon. It has missiles, which aren't great right now. I guess it has Torp, that's good for it, but that's really it. Nothing great. Bamboo, C tier. It lost MPU over 2 years ago now, so it's really still struggling. And its kit isn't the greatest. Autobomb, Whale's okay if it lands enough to shave enough damage to combo, but other than that, it's just not in the greatest spot right now. E-Leader, I will put into A tier. Same with scope, because it is a leader. That's true, which means it's slower. And this game is very fast paced now, since cooler has been so prominent for so long. And e-liter is just a little bit slow, but it is very oppressive. So it's good on certain maps. It's really a map niche. Charger, I'm going to put a tier below leader because it's still good, and it's probably one of your better vac options, but it's still a vac option when you could be running the other chargers. So there's no real point to using it. Squiffer, similarly, I am putting it in B tier. It is a bubble option, but this one's more, if you're really good with the weapon, like if you're a one trick, you can make it work. But other than that, it's pretty hard. It's not the easiest to slide into team comps. It's not got the biggest role in the game right now, I don't think. Duelist Welchers, I will put in A tier because the main weapons have been solid for a while. Its kit kind of blows. It's got Splat Bomb, Wavebreaker. Wavebreaker's not the best for it, but it works. Glugos, I will put in A. For similar reasons, the main weapon's really good. The kit is probably the best kit it could have asked for, being Wall Booyah. That's K52's kit. And like dedicated one tricks can really push this thing, but I feel like its paint is kind of bad, and it's just not worth it when you have a lot better slaying options at those range values that Glugo wants to play at. Julius, I'm putting into S tier, one of the best crab options in the game right now. No contest. Very, very, very strong. I'm actually contemplating putting this one into X tier because Julius is just very, very strong. I'm not going to. I'm going to keep him in S because there are better crab options. Splash. I don't know why. There we go. Dapples, D tier. They have Beacon Cooler. It's probably one of the worst cooler weapons in the game because, like, why this is not going to be your cooler pick, and they're kind of ass on their own. Tetras, B tier. They do the whole skirmishing thing better than Brush, but it has Reef Slider, and you're not gonna go far with Reef Slider. It's just not gonna work. Carbon, V Carbon, I'm putting a D tier. They really tried to make Autobomb Zipcaster work by making it like 160p. It's one of the only 160p weapons in the game, and it just doesn't, so it's not gonna. Sorry. Dynamo, I'm putting it to B tier because as far as cooler option goes, it's okay, but like it still has a lot of the issues that's plagued it since launch. Even though it has gotten some noticeable buffs, it's still just okay. It's definitely not going to be your preferred cooler pick. Flingza's actually like not bad. I'm actually putting Flingza in A tier. It definitely has potential. It's just a solid main weapon, honestly. Dedicated one tricks can push this pretty well. It does have missiles, which kind of brings it down, and Ink Mine. Like the kit's not super great for it, but I think the main weapon itself is enough to push it up to A tier. Roller, obviously I'm putting it in maybe top of S or X tier. I'll put top S because Roller is just very good. Just crazy main weapon. It has bubble. It's one of the best bubble options in the game right now. Like, if you're running a bubble, you are running either this, or, I will rank it right now, Minty Cavitator, X tier. One of the best bubble options in the game right now. It's being run at top level a lot, because it's just really good at it. It's really good at getting bubbles. It's really good at fighting. Its hitbox is pretty good. I think Decav is just a really solid main weapon. And it's definitely the best bubble option in the game right now. And in this meta where you probably want bubble because of Zook, and then strikes to deal with bubble, and then Zook to deal with strikes, because that's the fucking meta that Nintendo wants to push on this game for some fucking reason. It's gonna be your best bubble pick. Wiper hasn't seen. I haven't put anything into the A+ tier. I've noticed. I'll put Wiper in A tier. Actually, I'm not gonna put into A+. Because it's like it's a skirmisher. It has Stamp, which ain't great. Has Torpedo, which is fine. And as a shot player, I fucking hate fighting this thing. But it's like it's fine. It's not meta defining by any means. Stamper, this is between S and X tier as it has been for this entire game. I'll put it into S tier because it does have Zipcaster. It doesn't have any of like the really good specials you want, but the weapon itself is just very, very, very powerful. So it kind of works regardless, you know. Undercover, please. Splat Barrel, I'm also considering. Actually, it's gotten a bit better. Its shield has gotten more functional, but its kit still fucking blows for it. The tent is a solid B tier. You're probably not going to pick this one over Tent because why would you? Other one has Zook, this one has a Vac. It seems pretty obvious, but it still holds its own fairly fine. Aerospray D tier, as it has been. It has Roof Slider, please. This is just Zone's Cheese, the weapon. Pro, One of the worst crab options, but it does have line markers, so it means it's X tier. So it's X tier. Let's put this on. Please say it works. Oh, I have an ad. Great. No, that's what I wanted. That's exactly what I wanted, actually. Thank you. Yeah, one of the worst crab options. If you're picking crab, you're picking dualies or splash. X tier. Splash is really good. It has been good. It's been near or at top of the list. I'll put it top of the list for now. Junior, one of the better bubble options, I'd say. I'll put this in A+. Because it's definitely one of the better bubble options. It spams it pretty quickly, but it can't fight. And you really want to have a weapon that can fight in this game, and Junior does not do that. Squeezer, X tier still. It's still a good midline. Still what you want. 52 X tier. Still an incredibly good solo fighting weapon, even though... Actually, I'll put 52 in S, just because its kit, it has Whale. Whale is the special you're getting from this thing. And even though Wall on a 52 is really good, and 52 itself is really, really good, I think Whale holds it back from being, like, one of the best weapons in the game. Vanilla 96 is probably one of the better vac options, but still not great, so I'll put that in C tier. Just because, come on, Sprinkler vac, really, please. This has Dart vac, so it's arguably even worse, but I'll put it around the same. It's probably around the same, honestly. Shot, I am putting in S tier, one of the better Zuka spammers in this game. Similarly, Zap, one of the better cooler spammers, putting them both together here. Because they just output a lot of special, a lot of pain, a lot of pressure. Same DPS. They're basically the same weapon at this point. Sploosh, D tier. Curling is good for it. Stamp isn't. It's whatever. H3. Unfortunately, it's too slow. One of the worst cooler options, which is really unfortunate. Because I feel like this would be a cool cooler option. Too bad you're going to be getting approximately 0 coolers a game. L3 about. It's a better crab option than Pro. But not by much. Not by much. It has Curling Bomb, which if it had anything other than Curling Bomb would probably be a little bit better. But that is where if it had Burst Crab like Splash Kit, this could easily be higher and see some competitive use. But too bad, it does not. Blob is zones the weapon. It's good on zones. It's slow. A lot of the zones weapons are here, as you'll see. Tri-Slosher, this kit is really good on Rainmaker because it has Toxic Mist, and Inkjet is pretty fun for it, I think. So this goes in solid B tier. A tier even, because the weapon alone is solid. I'll definitely put that there. Actually, B tier. You'll see why later. Machine is like, it's always been solid. Of course, Nintendo did over-nerf it at the start of the game because it was way too strong, and then they overdid the nerfs a little. But it's still a strong weapon that I will put in A+ tier. It's probably, one of the best Booyah options in this game. Bucket X tier, I should have no explanation for that one. Like, obviously, it's been one of the most standard midlines throughout most of this game's life. Explo, it's way too slow. This is another zones weapon that you're playing on zones and zones only. Ballpoint, it's a fine main weapon, but after Jet Meta, you're probably not playing it much. Hydro, way too slow for this game. It's just not good. Mini, now I've been playing Mini a bit to 4-star it, and the main weapon feels super powerful, and Burst Bomb feels really nice on it, but it is stuck with Stamp, which relegates it to B tier, I think, which is really unfortunate, because I have a lot of fun with the weapon, but Stamp is just not it on it, which is a little sad, Nautilus has always been strong putting that in A+ tier, because just the main weapon is super solid, and the kit works well for it. Heavy is your standard splatling backline. Nothing wrong with it. I will put that in A tier because it's fine, you know, nothing wrong with it. Stringer's your chip damage weapon. It doesn't do anything super well. Like, you would rather have a better backline on it, but for what it doesn't do it horribly, you know. It does it functionally. Reflux is your turf war weapon, and you're using this on nothing but turf war, so that's a B tier. I am putting it that high for Turf War alone. I'm a Turf War player, by the way. Luna Neo, it has Fizzy, which is definitely a better sub to be spamming than Splat Bomb. Probably, yeah. But it does have Stamp, which, I mean, I think Stamp is okay on it. I'll put this in C tier because it's still not great. You're still not going to be using this. Ink Brush Nouveau, it has Stamp again, and also Mine. So it does your whole backline rat thing worse than the other one. Pen X tier needs no explanation. That is not Pen. How did that work? Where'd Pen go? Where did Pen? There's Pen. Pen, it's you know, it's the best cooler weapon in the game probably. You're not beating that one. Dapple Nuvo goes very slightly higher than Dapples for the better sub and the zone's cheese potential with 3-slider. Carbon Deco S tier because it's just really good. It is a really solid main weapon that does its job well. Swig, surprisingly, C tier for the zone's cheese. Golden Aerospray goes with Aerospray. Forge Pro goes a tier higher. It is a better Booyah option than V Pro, but it's still only okay. C Junior, there is no reason to pick this over Bubble, which is a little sad because I think it's cool still. It does have a good kit that's for like tracking people, torpedo, wave breaker. Like you're gonna be knowing where people are. You're going to be spamming these torpedoes like no one's business. So it's really annoying to deal with, but it's not like it's not gonna be fighting well. Was the thing. T-Tech, as far as strike weapons go, you're not going to be picking T-Tech. You're going to be picking Neo Splash if you want strikes, or even Bucket because that is another insanely good weapon. But I will put it. I'm between A plus and A, probably A, because there's not a whole lot of reason to pick this over V-Shot unless on certain zones maps. If you really want like good paint with strikes, but then again, you would just pick Neo Splash for that. So not really sure why you wouldn't. Oh, cool. No, that's what I wanted. That's what I wanted. Okay, we're gonna go music list for a bit then. We're gonna go music list for a bit then. Nova, I was gonna say F tier, but its kit is actually not the worst thing in the world. It's Sensor Whale, so you know where everybody else is. So if you want to be a pain in the ass and know where everyone's location is, you can. Bucket Deco is definitely a worse bucket. It has Dart, but it's still like a bucket that you can use. I'll put it in A tier. It's still definitely usable. Zimmy. Now I put Mini in B tier. I'm putting Zimmy in A plus tier. Definitely one of the more solid bubble weapons in the game. Unfortunately, it does have Toxic Mist, which hinders it slightly. Is Toxic Mist, but the main weapon and the special work together super well, I think. It's just the better mini kit. Rapid Deco is going a tier higher, probably in B tier because it's usable. It's not Mind Strikes, it is Torp Jet, which is a lot better kit for it. It's more self-sufficient, but also it doesn't get a whole lot of jets, and you would probably want to play a different blaster. Then again, I did put V-Blast in A tier. I'll put this in A tier then. Because it works, it's functional, you know? It definitely works, it's not bad. It's not like Clash Neo, which is instant F tier. Ziff, I will put A tier higher than V-Charger, because you are always picking wall strikes over bomb vac, but it's still only like a map pick situational backline thing. You're probably not picking this over a pen, or an edit, you know? You're picking a cooler option over strikes. And you're picking something that can farm strikes better. Crack-On Roller, definitely a lot worse than V-Roller. Where did I put V-Roller? Did I not rank V-Roller? Hello? Oh, I did. It's right here. I'm stupid. It's an S tier. Crack-On's probably going to be in B tier just because it has beacons, which is pretty much nothing for it. And it has Kraken, which is okay, but you'd much rather prefer that bubble. Of course. 96. 96 definitely has its uses. Like, it's not horrible, especially in solo queue. It's a lot better. I'll put it in A tier, actually, because it can hold its own pretty well. C-Jet, not going much higher than V-Jet, honestly. Jet in this game is just a lot. I'm putting it same tier. Jet in this game is just a lot worse than it has been in the past because its specials are less spammable. This one in particular has Storm, which, like, great. Fuck are you gonna do with Storm? And I think Mist is the sub on this one, so it's really not the best. Neo Splash is the best strike spammer in the game. I'll put it in S tier because if you have strikes on the team, you're either having a bucket or a Neo Splash, and you are running nothing else for strikes. Unfortunately, and those are the two options you get. Zap 89. I'm always a Zap 89 believer. I'm putting this in A tier because I'm a Zap 89 believer. I love Zap 89. It is my turf war weapon of choice. It's so good. I love chumps a lot. I really think if there's a dedicated 89 one trick, they could really push this higher. But for now, that's where they're at because you would just rather take the cooler Zap. Neo Splash shouldn't have no explanation. It has Beacon Whale. Please, please get out of here. Burst Stamp is better. It's a better sub. It's a better sub. Special is definitely a lot worse, so I'll just put it tier up because you're using more of the sub than the special anyway. Tri Nouveau is a better kit than V-Tri. So I'll put it in A tier. Although this is not the cooler option you're going to be going with. It gets cooler a lot slower than your pen and your edit and your zap, and it's just outclassed by those. So this is not the cooler option you're going to be running. Rapid Parrot Deco is really good on tower, I think, but that's like it. That's where it ends. So like it's still a solid option. You'd still want to consider running it, but it's not like it's the best thing in the world or anything. It's like it's okay. It does its job pretty well. S plus 92 has Roost Slider Cheese, and that's about it. But the main weapon itself is super solid, so I'm putting this in C tier. Paintbrush, the main weapon, is not super solid. D tier. It's way too slow. If this thing was any faster, it would be a little bit better. But it's really not great. It struggles. I'm putting this same as the other one because Beacon Chump is, I think, about equivalent to Splat Bomb Wavebreaker. They're about the same. It doesn't really matter what kit you want other than preference. You're gonna be picking this one on zones probably, and this one on other modes. But it's really take your pick. They're about the same. Tetras. I will put these Tetras with the other Tetras. They would be a lot higher because they have Zipcaster, and Zipcaster is infinitely more useful on Tetras than they are than Roost Sliders, right? But it has Sprinkler, which is the worst decision the devs have ever made in this game, kit-wise. Just why? These things could be so much higher if they had like a bomb or like anything else, really. It's hard to think of things that would make this kit worse than Sprinkler. Swig Express, again, has Zones Cheese potential, so that's C tier. Wiper Deco has missiles, which isn't exactly the specialty you want to be using a lot of. And Beacons, which it's not as good as I think it's the Torp kit, because the Torp kit at least has Torps. You know, Strela 10 is a solid A+, because just 10's a good main weapon, and you're getting Zooks out of it, so there's your Zooks. If you're good with 10, you can make that work. But 10 is a very difficult main weapon to make work, and it's a little slow too. So that's why it's not breaking into the S tiers for me, at least. A Nova Sim with D tier, it spams Jet, and that is all it does. Main weapon is useless, it has Inkmine, which is basically useless. Not a whole lot of point. H3D has Bubble, which is good in Bubble Metal, but it also has Wall, which, like, this thing's... actually, this kit works better for it than I was, like, previously thinking. But it's still... H3 is so slow that you're not going to be using it a lot. I'll put it into C tier, though, because you could make that work. If you really tried super hard with it, you could make that work. Heavy Deco has Kraken, so it's probably not the best. I'll put that one in B tier, because then you have to get into front lines with Kraken, and that's not where this weapon wants to be playing, you know. Ultra Brush Nouveau, it's like good on Flounder Heights, and that's it, so it's getting the same as the other one. Sigu should have no explanation, has Stamp, one of the worst specials in the game, and one of the worst specials for the weapon, I think. And it also has Fizzy, right? Fizzy Stamp? I think I'm remembering that right. Fizzy's fine for it, obviously, but, you know, Stamp's not. Gold Dynamo has Chumps, so it's okay, but it's probably not the weapon you would want to be picking Chumps on, and you would rather just pick the cooler option, I think. It also has Spot Bomb, so if you get stuck in enemy ink, you're kind of fucked. Sorella Umbrella its kit is better than Umbrella, but the main weapon still struggles quite a bit, so that's a solid B tier for me. Blob Deco has Kraken on Blob. Why would you do this game? That's F tier, I think. Because, like, the whole point of Blob is that it paints well. This is a Blob that has no tools in its kit to help it paint. So why? I get they try to make a more aggressive Blob kit, but it just doesn't work. It falls apart. Dread is a very good main weapon. Roost Slider can use to cheese zones, which is basically it, but it does have Suction Bomb, so it can help it fight. Dread's going in A tier, because Dread is just a really good main weapon, I think. Machine Neo is the Zook version of Machine, which I think that's fine. Sure, you're not spamming fizzies, you're spamming point sensors, but those are still okay. They're okay enough for it to make it work. Ballpoint Nouveau is VAC Ballpoint, which not a whole lot of reasons to pick it over V Ballpoint, so it's definitely going lower. Edit, one of the best cooler options in the game, no doubt. That's going S tier. If you have a cooler option, you are picking Pen, Zap, or Edit. Those are your three. You are not picking anything else. Like, the closest cooler weapon is Tri Nouveau. And why would you ever pick Tri Nouveau? You wouldn't. You're just not, you know. Chump Stringer, better in zones than the vanilla kit in other modes. It's kind of eh, so I'll put it in the same tier. Custom Blaster, Trippy Splashy D is fun. Point Sensor is fun for it, But I think this is about the same as the other blaster, honestly. It doesn't have bubble, which is pretty good right now, but it's still like an okay main weapon. S Plus 91 recently won an area cup, so it's actually meta, and I've been saying this all along. I think S Plus 91 is really good. it's literally just a range blaster with worse AoE that can turn into a Luna whenever it wants. Like, come on, that's going to be good. I'm putting that at the equivalent tier of range blaster because it's really good. And also burst booyah, please. Range blaster wishes it had that good of a kit. Burst booyah, please. Missiles brush is a little bit better than wavebreaker brush, barely though. Red pen, you're not using this in favor of cooler pen. That being said, it still is pencil. It still is good. It still is very solid. Still has combos, so I put it in a plus tier, even though you are not using it instead of cooler pen. And parries, you're not using this over vanilla dualies. That being said, they're still fine. They're a fine trippy splashy D weapon. They do nothing exceptional, but you would much rather want vanilla. I'll put that in A tier. Stamper, this is the crab stamper. You're not going to be picking this over Zipcaster, and it has mist, which isn't the best for it, but I'll put it in A tier because it still is a stamper, so it's still good. And it still has crab stank, which is still one of the best specials in the game. So just because of that, I'll put it in A+. Strala Undercover has Torp, so cool voice crack on Torp there. It has Torp, so it is instantly better than Vunder, but not by much. Foil Squeezer, it has Screen. Screen's not the greatest right now, and you can't even play it in basically any tournament setting because a lot of people want Screen banned, which I completely understandable. It just means Screen weapons are instantly worse. There's no world in which you are picking Foil Squeezer over Vanilla Squeezer. That being said, Auto Bomb is fun for it, but you're still like not getting much out of it. I'm between A+ and A, but it still functions as a weapon, so I'll put that in A+. Reflex Deco is your reflex kit with Zones cheese. You're not going to be using this on anything other than Zones, so I'll put it with a lot of the other Zones cheese weapons in D tier. Would I put other reflex? I put it in B tier. That's a little high for it, I think. Yeah, actually, I'll bring that down to C tier. I've changed my mind. Cycle Umbrella. This has Dart Bubble. What a fucking kit, you know? Main weapon by itself isn't the most powerful, and I guess it does have Bubble, which is a little more desirable, but it's still not the best Bubble option in the game by a landslide. That's going C tier. Dowsers. These have Mine Whale. Are you kidding me? Like, nothing here to help this weapon work. The main weapon itself is solid-ish. It's not the greatest. It's not the worst thing in the world. It functions. And that's all I can really say about that. C tier. Let me pop on this song. There we go. Oh, this song's good. This is Chara's outro, I think. Gluga Deco. This is your Glugas with Zook. I think these are about the same as the other kit, I'm going to be honest. Dev's really cooked with Gluga kits in this game. Too bad Gluga is still, not the greatest. Not 79 has Trippy Splashy D and a Lethal Bomb this time, but, I'm not sure if I'm going to put this at the same or worst tier. It's if you want Nautilus with a Lethal Bomb, you would pick this one. I'll put it this tier, sure. Dread D has Beacon and Wavebreaker. It is a supportive Dread kit. I think it does Dread worse. It does what Dread is trying to do worse. Custom Explo, obviously, we've seen that this one is at least okay, but you're really not going to be picking this for a whole lot, so that's going into B tier. Sea Leader is probably a worse pick than Vanilla E-Leader, just because your special is Kraken, and that makes you a Kraken for a bit, which, why would you want to be a Kraken as an E-Leader in most E-Leader positions, unless, I guess, if you're being run up on, but then that is a lot of seconds that you are being Kraken instead of being E-Leader. You do have beacons, which are pretty solid, so actually, I've convinced myself to put it in A tier. But you would still rather pick the vanilla kit, I think. New Squiffer is the fun Squiffer kit. I'll put it as the exact same as the bubble kit, just because it's more fun, you know. Similarly, Flingza, Foil Flingza, I will put in the same tier as regular Flingza. I think this kit is a little better, though it does have screen. So, you get a lethal sub at least. It's better than Inkmon. 52 Deco has the same problems of Foil Flingza, that it has a screen instead of a better special. And it also has Curling Bomb, which, like, you would rather want wall on the thing. That being said, it is still a good weapon. Still a good 52. Charcoal Decav, it has wall, which is okay, but it does not have bubble, which Decav wants. Decaf wants bubble. It's one of the best bubble weapons. As such, this is going in A tier, because A plus tier, because it is obviously a solid weapon. But if you're not spamming bubbles, then why are you playing it? Bamboo, Blue Boo. Blue Boo is really good for zones because it has fizzy and chump spam, which is great in zones, I think. When I put Vanilla, I put it in C tier. This has enough of a zones niche, and it's still like functional in the other modes. It's still like usable. It's still the better bamboo kit. I'm currently debating in my head whether to put this A or B tier because it's like a pretty solid weapon still. I'll put it B tier. I'll put it B tier. I will do the same thing to custom dowsers. They have burst bomb, which is much better, and they also have strikes, but this is not the strikes weapon you are going to be picking. You are going to be picking literally any other strike weapon, probably Neo Splash and Bucket, like I have said already. Miss Splashdown. I think this is a fun kit. The kit is fun to like trap people and miss and then splash down on them, but the weapon itself ain't great, so I'm putting this with the bubble cut actually. Sea Hydra. You don't really want screen on this, and it has mine. Sure, I'll put this D because it's still usable. Crabit, there's not a whole lot of reason to. I'm putting this in A plus tier because it's still a weapon that's very, very good, and Crab is still very, very good, and Spot Bomb's still very, very good. So it's like still a solid weapon, but you're not using this over Cooler at it, you know. And there are other Crab options, namely Splash and Dualies, that you are using over this. So same problems really as what got Stamper Nouveau in here. And then we have both Wellstrings. Now, I don't know why, but because both Wellstring kits dropped at the same time and they look identical, I have such trouble telling their kits apart. I know one has Wave Breaker, one has Stamp, one has Sensor, and one has Auto Bomb, I'm pretty sure. But it's just the combinations of those. I think... I can't, I'm looking it up. This is so embarrassing for me. I don't know my Wellstring kits. Auto Bomb, Stamp, and then Point Sensor, Wave Breaker then. Point Sensor, Wave Breaker, yep. So I got the subs and specials right. I just didn't get which is which. So this is Auto Bomb, Stamp. That's much more aggressive than I think the weapon would want to play. But I guess Auto Bomb can be used as a get off me tool. So it's not the worst thing. And also it's like a solid main weapon. It's a more solid of a main weapon than Stringer, so I'm putting it in B tier. This has location, and location is good, so I'll put it also in B tier because the main weapon itself is not much better, I'll be honest. And that is my tier list. Bam! Bam! Tier list speedrun there. That only took how long? Half an hour tier list. From a guy who was not a very good competitive player. I am low level. This is just my thoughts on the state of the game. If you disagree with me, you are going to disagree with me. Let me know what you specifically disagree with. I think this is pretty solid. This is just where I would rank most things, you know. And like, yeah, some things might be able to move up a tier or two. I should actually probably order this top tier here, shouldn't I? Pen's probably the best. Bucket's probably next. Decaf Splash. Yeah, I like that. I like that a lot. I think that's good. I think that's a solid tier list there. Did put Flingza in A tier. We need to see more Flingza players. It's like a lot of the weapons in A tier. If you see a dedicated one trick pushing, then like they have some serious potential. Like Dually Squelchers, Glugas, Flingza, Zap 89. Please play Zap 89. Like if you have really talented players on these, they can make it work. You know. And similarly, in A+, a lot of these are just weapons that are good in their own merit, but why would you use them when there are better weapons? Pen, Stamper, Squeezer, 52, all Edit. Literally all of those are why use this weapon when there is the other kit that is up here, you know? So I like the balance of the game. I think everything is usable at least. Like even the F tiers have some enjoyment in them. Some emphasis on some enjoyment in them. Yeah, everything can work, especially in a solo queue environment. You know, Timmy the Clash Blaster. You can really make anything work if you try hard enough. But you know, if you want a weapon that does well, one of these, If you want to make a team, I think the most popular comp right now is pen for cooler. You probably want bucket decav. Oh, sorry, decav. Bucket decav, and then some midliners, some weapons. You know, maybe a Zook. I think this is fine. I think this is perfectly serviceable. Who knows? Who knows? Please tell me how I'm wrong. Please. Because you're definitely going to disagree with at least some of these picks, you know? Okay, that's the list.